I forgot to hit record. Oh man, welcome to Montez at Midday. I'm your boy Dre Montez, and I'm being joined today by Alistair Fennell, a writer with I-70 Sports. Got an interesting topic that I shared that he wrote last week, and it's concerning the Rams. We'll get into that shortly. But it is Motivational Monday, and welcome to Montez at Midday. We're being brought to you by a title sponsor, the Weed Squad St. Louis. As well as we picked up a new sponsor last week, and we also have Certa Pro Painters out of Oklahoma City. To get a complete listing of all the sponsors, feel free to visit www.dremontez.com. All right, high fives in the building, chest bump. Let's hug it out. Birthday greetings to you out there. If you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. Anniversary, happy anniversary to you. And don't worry about it. You got this. It's Motivational Monday. Make it happen Monday. There it is. Also, thank you for the birthday shout-outs to my twins, Stephanie and Sharnice. They did a girls' trip with their mom and sister, and they went to Seattle, Washington, Denver, Colorado, and Las Vegas. Talking about at 25, I wasn't thinking about going none of those damn places. Boy, the ladies know how to do it, don't they? Happy birthday to you again to my daughters, Stephanie and Sharnice. 25 years old. Dre, you look good. I don't argue. All right, my man Alistair is feeling a little under the weather, so I question him as he's been watching any of these crazy TV shows out right now. I'm a big fan of Grand Crew. I'm a big fan of Abbott Elementary, and I just got caught up in Euphoria. And I had to watch season 1, and now I'm caught up on season 2. But when the dad really came out to his family that he wasn't happy, he went the fuck off. I mean, he went off. He got in his 1986 Jeep with no top, and he lost it. He went to his gay spot back in the day when his friend turned him out, and he just had a moment. He had a moment to himself. I said, this show is interesting. First of all, you got high school kids that are not even seniors that have been to rehab multiple times. I mean, I can understand drinking and marijuana, but these kids do the hard, heavy shit. I don't know what's going on at that school. And the kids don't have bad lives, it seems like to me. But the pressure that these kids are under, I just couldn't imagine being a high school student in today's time. I just cannot fly with that at all. There's no way damn possible at all. But check out that show. It's called Euphoria. It's not for the average family, so I'm not encouraging you to watch this with your high school because you may give them some damn ideas. Matter of fact, check and see if your high schooler watching this. You got to be on point, parents. All right, next up we have, do you gamble at all, Alistair?
No, I don't gamble.
No, you don't gamble at all?
I'm the worst gambler.
I like betting on the ponies over at the horse track.
I tell you what, if I gamble, I'm gonna end up losing. I'm that bad. I can't gamble.
I dabble a little bit. I dabble a little bit between college football, horse racing, and football. I don't do that much baseball.
I tried it. I tried that Fox Sports thing that Terry Bradshaw together and everything else. And every time I enter it, I shoot. So I'm like, get it.
These guys that have been picking these parlays on picking the first person to score a basket in a basketball game is amazing to me. A $5 bet, and a guy made $170,000 off picking who's going to score the first basket.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
It is.
So I have a question out there. If you do gamble, do you have a goal? I mean, is there a goal? Do you say to yourself, look, I'm going to go into this football season. I'm going to gamble 500. But if I end up winning $2,000, I'm done, no matter what level of the season. I mean, is there such a thing, or do you just keep going? Because if I win $100 at the track, I'm done. I don't gamble.
Me too. If I win $1,000, I'm saving that money.
$1,000, I'm going straight to the strip club. I'm gonna make some bad decisions.
I don't know about that. I'm probably just saving that money, for savings, so I can build up wealth and everything else. And
the responsible bet. Okay.
Yeah, and just go on, use it, later on, and take my girl out on a vacation and everything else.
Okay, that's responsible.
Yeah,
I can respect that.
It doesn't have to be an international vacation. It can be a nice American vacation. Driving around the country and all that type of stuff. That's what type of vacation.
I got used to the staycation during the COVID thing.
Yeah,
I found some places around Missouri that I have never went to since I was a child. I never went to, and I found that to be a lot of fun, and very interesting, and very financially doable.
Yes,
a lot of things that are easy on the pocket in your own town. If you haven't done a staycation before, it's a lot of fun.
Exactly. So if I want $1,000, I'll just save that money for my vacation and all that type of stuff. Go on a camping vacation. Somewhere up in northwestern Missouri and all that, or southeast or northeast Missouri. I haven't been to northeast Missouri in a long time since I was about 4 or 5 years old.
That's what I did. I went to Merrimack Caverns. I haven't been there, man, since 1980, and I don't remember none of that.
Yeah.
I must have been talking, running my mouth, horse playing with somebody, because I don't remember none of that.
I mean, I barely remember that. When I was growing up, back when I was in the late 70s, early 80s.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was something
else. And that was because that was on, because I was either on a field trip in my elementary school and everything.
Right. Over the weekend, they had the Duke North Carolina basketball game on, and that was very fun to watch. So I posed the question: who has the best rivalry in college sports? Is it basketball or football? Now, I've been lucky enough to go to the Duke Carolina game.
Oh, wow.
I've been lucky enough to go to the Florida Georgia game, and I've been to some big rivals. I've been very, 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 very fortunate to do that when I worked in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to WFNZ Sports Radio 610 AM. But I've been to some big rivals. I mean, and they're insane.
Well, Mizzou and Kansas have some really good rivalries in basketball.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Then the Missouri Illinois game.
Yeah, when Missouri was in the old Big 12 conference, they had some really good rivalries. Whether it's basketball, it was mainly basketball. Football was there too, but it was basketball. Had some really good matchups. Back in the 80s, we had basketball players like Danny Manning, Derek Chivas.
Derek Chivas, the Band-Aid man.
Yeah, the Band-Aid man. Yeah.
Man, those were some good rivals back in the day.
Those were some really good rivalries back then.
I mean, I was in ACC country living in Carolina, and that is interesting in basketball there. I mean, that is some true deep-rooted hatred.
But Duke and North Carolina, that's a long-time basketball rivalry.
It is. And when Wake Forest started getting good, that was fun too.
Yeah.
Championships there as well.
Exactly. But I tell you what, I love the 80s college basketball when you had the Big East, when you had Georgetown, Providence, Syracuse, Connecticut, St. John's. I mean, I became a big fan of college basketball back in the 80s when you had those rivalries, the Big East Conference. I mean,
yeah, that was some good basketball rivalries out there.
It was intense.
I mean, I camped out at the stadium with those kids at that Duke Carolina game. I mean, it was, and college students are very, very creative at having fun. Yeah. Everything is a damn game. Something's worth points while you're waiting on anything. And then on the football side of it, that's intense as well. I mean,
it is.
Wow.
And at one point, Mizzou and Illinois had a pretty good football rivalry going on as well.
Yeah, it seems both programs can't seem to match up with the levels of talent being good at the same time.
Well, the SEC just took it over all of college sports just about.
Yeah, that's the dominance right now. That is the
Soccer
dominance
and all
right now
that.
that I see.
Basketball, but SEC's taking over all the sports basically.
Well, with that NIL now, I think it's pretty much going to even things out in the next 4 to
Yeah.
6 years. We're going to see a complete balance shift there.
Yes, and I'm hoping that it does because I think we need some balance right now. We really do. I want to see schools I want to see the Pac-12 schools make a comeback, like USC, UCLA, Arizona State, and University of Colorado.
Well, USC is on a good track record. They got the coach. They're lining up players. They're getting transfers. They're getting old players back.
And I want to see some of these historically black colleges and universities get back on the right track. I love what Deion Sanders is doing at Jackson State, and I hope he stays there and don't take any other head coaching job, whether it be in Division I football or in the NFL, because what he's doing for Jackson State, I love the fact that he was able to get that one football player from St. Mary's Academy out in St. Louis. I forgot the guy's name.
Right? Yep, I know you're talking about.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I posted up there on,
They just got a quarterback too. They just got a quarterback to decommit from. I think he transferred from Texas.
Yes, he transferred from Texas, going down to Jackson State. So I'm loving the fact that you got that these black colleges, these from Jackson State, Grambling, Southern, FAMU. I'm loving to see some of these colleges, these historically black colleges, universities, get some of these brothers back in to play.
Right. I'm thinking this is going to help even more programs by what Deion has done.
Exactly.
At school.
Right.
The fact that it's going to be more games now with national coverage for these kids. And now you get to see a wide variety of HBCU schools and players and find out about these programs out there other than just Southern, Grambling, and Jackson State. There's other schools out there as well. So I like what that has really, really done. I've been to HBCU game as well. I've been to the Thanksgiving, the Classic. And that is, you need to take Monday off to go to that.
I need to go to the Bayou Classic when Grambling takes on Southern.
That's what I went to.
My grandparents, my mom, every Thanksgiving they will drive down from Springfield, maybe for like a day, almost maybe like 2 hours. They'll get there 2 hours before the game, and they'll park out there at the Superdome in New Orleans, and they will attend the game.
Man, that's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, but it's a lot of food, man. It's a lot of food.
A lot of food.
My good friend Paul Massenberg, he took me down with his family, and
Massenberg, man, familiar last name.
He's a school teacher.
Okay.
He went to was it Hazelwood or McClure?
Oh, that's a familiar Massenberg. That's a familiar name because there was a guy named a lady named Martha Massenberg.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that was a very interesting experience. I mean, the food, the people, the tailgating, going on the yard. I mean, that was a lot of fun. I got the royal treatment, man. They gave me the royal treatment when I was down there. They definitely did.
I've never been to New Orleans, and shame on me for missing that opportunity. But
what?
Yeah, shame on me. But God willing, I'm gonna go there.
It is definitely an experience to be had.
Exactly.
It is one of those things on the bucket list. Be like, hey, I went to this. Like, I went to a regatta in Boston, and I never thought in a million years I'd go to a regatta, but it was pretty cool.
Oh,
it was pretty cool. And I went to the NCAA soccer championship.
Really?
I play Indiana.
Okay.
I've been to the Daytona 500.
Okay.
600. I've been about 60 NASCAR races.
Okay. I've twice watched the Indy 500. I watched the Formula One race when it was racing in Indianapolis. Called Lewis Hamilton win his race there.
Okay. That dude's a freak of nature.
Oh, he is. I mean, when he won in Indianapolis, that was a big deal. They were talking about locally and everything else. And
Gotcha.
I've been to the Preakness, because I lived in
all right.
I've been to the Preakness. I lived in Maryland for a little bit and everything else. So
I went to Michael Jordan's last NBA All-Star game in Atlanta.
Okay, I saw Michael Jordan play basketball when he was playing for the Bulls against the Washington Wizards.
Ooh,
yeah, saw that.
That's a good one. That's a good one right there, man. I think it's a little different for these folks that are going to the big game this weekend. These ticket prices.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's a life decision. If you're not, that's a lot of money to be paid.
It is. It's a lot.
I'm not saying don't do it, because I've been to 4 Super Bowls. It is an experience. It is, especially if it's your team playing in the Super Bowl and your team wins. Right. It does something to the body. And the reason I brought Alistair on, again, he's joining me today on Montez at Midday. He's a writer for I-70 Sports. And with the matchup prior to this, there was a lot of shifting of the weight on who to root for, whether you're going for the Kansas City Football Chiefs, whether you're going for the LA Rams. And here in St. Louis, that brought up a lot of discussions on the hatred for Stan Kroenke. The fact that some of the fans still can't let it go that the team left. And the fact that, now this is a true story. If Kansas City would have won and the Rams won and they were playing each other in the Super Bowl, I would have moved out of Missouri. I would have left, because I wouldn't have been able to take all that. That's too much. The Patrick Mahomes voice is enough for me, but now we got fans rooting again for the I told you so. And then I got the Ram fans, whether they're LA or St. Louis, there's something bad going to be brewing out of that. And out of all that discussions, we got the matchup now with the Bengals and the Rams, but a story that will never, ever go away here in St. Louis is the fact we've had 2 football teams and they both are gone. And you wrote an article that I shared on my social media page where it was titled, Vincent Shamo is the reason why there's no football in St. Louis. Can you please explain to the people about that?
Okay, let's go back to the 1980s, where back then there were a lot, what started this whole thing was Al Davis, owner of the Raiders, took on against the National Football League, because back then, he saw something in the loophole in the rules that football franchises needed to have larger capacity stadiums. Okay, and the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, when he was playing, was at that time one of the smallest stadiums in the entire National Football League. And, he couldn't get, Oakland, to build, to upgrade the stadium and all that. And so he decided he was announcing he was going to move the Raiders to Los Angeles. Well, as many of y'all know, Pete Rozelle and league owners, said you can't do that. You can't just go ahead and just pack up and leave and move out. Well, Al Davis says, yes, I can, and if you're not going to, I'm going to take you guys to court. And so he did that. First time, the first court hearing ended in a hung jury. And the second time he did it, I think it was in 1982, the grand jury ruled in favor of him, and so he was able to move his team from Oakland to Los Angeles to play at the Coliseum in Los Angeles in 1982. And it opened up a Pandora's door for other franchises during that time that were looking for better stadium deals to move as well. Baltimore Colts were playing at Memorial Coliseum at, I think it was, no, not Memorial Coliseum, it was called Memorial Stadium, that was totally outdated and everything else. They couldn't get a new stadium, so Bob Irsay, packed his bag, had his team packed up, and moved to Indianapolis for a better deal. They had built a new dome stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And right about this time too, Phoenix, Arizona was a growing popular city on the rise during that time. You have to go prove back. You also have to look back too, is that St. Louis used to be in the top 15 as one of the major markets.
Right.
But some of these western cities were starting to bypass St. Louis. Cities such as Seattle, Denver, Colorado, Sacramento, California, and Phoenix, Arizona. Okay? And the USFL, when it started back in 1983 and awarded a team in Arizona, Arizona was doing really, really well, with their were doing well with their attendance. And so that attracted a lot of NFL teams. And in 1984, the Philadelphia Eagles were planning to move to Arizona after the 1984 season because, they weren't getting because they want to get a better stadium deal than the current one that they were playing at Veterans Stadium. However, what happened was that they for somehow or some reason they were able to get a better deal in Philadelphia and everything else. Get new stadiums. They got new they added new seats over there and all that. And I believe that the team was also put for sale and it was bought by a local businessman in Philadelphia. So in 1984, and I remember this, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch had a front cover page about Busch Stadium, and St. Louis was second to, actually no, they were last as far as capacity. You only had about 54,000 seats, whereas Washington had 55,000 at RFK Stadium. Houston Astrodome was around 56,000. And so that's when the rumor mill of the Cardinals possibly moving to Arizona started happening. It was because of the fact that St. Louis were playing in a much smaller stadium.
Okay.
And so when that happened, city leaders and county executives, they were kind of concerned about this. And so Bill Bidwell, who was seated right next to Mayor Vincent Shamel, and G. McNair, they were all planning on putting together a stadium proposal. And that's when, Bill Bidwell, announced to everybody in St. Louis that he has no plans on moving the team at all. He's going to keep the team in St. Louis.
Because they were trying for Maryland Heights at the time too, right?
Yes. Here's the thing. They were trying. Here's the thing. They wanted to have the stadium at Maryland Heights. Bidwell wanted the stadium in Maryland Heights, okay? Because he felt that it'd be great, for the baseball Cardinals to have their thing going on at Busch Stadium, whereas I could go ahead and play in St. Louis County and all that type of stuff. Because you have to understand this too. St. Louis County was growing back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had people that were leaving, downtown St. Louis and moving to places like Florissant, Missouri, Creve Coeur, Missouri, Richmond Heights, Baldwin, Missouri.
And all the auto dealerships were out there.
Yeah, and all
we had all that, yeah.
Yeah, it was developing. It was booming at that time too. And so, thought it was a great idea, and and everybody was behind it. G. McNair was behind it and everything. In fact, G. McNair was trying to build not just a football stadium, but build an arena to try to lure an NBA basketball team. Because let's not forget this too. The Blues almost left St. Louis during the early part of the 80s because they were playing in an outdated
Checkerdome.
Oh, yeah, it was
bad. I can still smell it.
Me too. And, of course, it was saved, locally. But, but St. Louis County, they had all the resources and everything else. They had everything. Everything was booming. And, there was a stadium proposal in Maryland Heights, Missouri, back in I want to say back in the early part of 1986 and all that land and everything. And then this was before I left St. Louis, because I was living in St. Louis all the way up until the summer of 1986, and I remember this, that there was all the hoopla about the possibility of the Cardinals playing in a new stadium, in a 70,000 seat stadium in Maryland Heights, Missouri. Well, what happened was that the city of St. Louis, Mayor Vincent Shamel, said no, he didn't want to do that. He scrapped that idea.
Wow.
He scrapped that idea, even though it was supported by the county executive. A lot of county leaders wanted it and all that type of stuff. But Mayor Vincent Shamel said no, he wasn't going to support it and all that. And unfortunately, that got the ball rolling in the Cardinals' leaving St. Louis and moving to Arizona. And so Vincent Shamel tried to put together this idea of trying to buy the New England Patriots and trying to convince Bill Bidwell to buy the New England Patriots and keep the Cardinals here in St. Louis to be sold by a local ownership and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, that Tom Sullivan dude used to own the Patriots.
Yeah, Tom Sullivan used to own the Patriots, and they were trying to get Bill Bidwell to buy the Patriots and all that type of stuff and everything else, and have St. Louis, have local leaders, buy the team and all that type of stuff. But
didn't he have like a St. Louis connection, Tom Sullivan?
He did. He had some type of connection there.
That was a business connection here on why that came up, because I know at the time Tony Eason was the quarterback, and the St. Louis football Cardinals were going 5-11 every year, and so were the Patriots at that time. So it was swapping a team to do the same thing at that time. Because he lost his money. Bob Kraft bought it because that guy Sullivan lost his money on that Michael Jackson tour.
Yes, he sure did.
Yeah.
Really killed himself doing that.
Yeah, that's why there's an autograph of a Michael Jackson on the wall in Bob Kraft's office, is because of that guy he bought the team for.
Yep, sure did. Sure did.
So who's to blame for football being out of St. Louis? We're having that discussion right now. And my man Alistair is just sharing with us an article that he wrote last week, about 2 weeks ago, on I-70 Sports about Vincent Shamel, our mayor back in the 80s, who, ironically enough, was at my 8th grade graduation. He handed out our diplomas. So that was weird right there. But yeah,
it's weird.
There's a lot of fans right now. They're booing Stan Kroenke. They're booing the LA Rams. But if we go back to the origin of the story of football leaving St. Louis, the idea was put into play by Vincent Shamel.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was very arrogant in this whole process and everything else, wanting to trying to get Bidwell to sell the team and he was going around asking owners to convince Bill Bidwell to sell the team, keep the team here in St. Louis, and all that type of stuff. I have business leaders and all that type of stuff that would do it and all that would take care of the team and all that type of junk. And, and basically he just said, well, I tell you what, Bill, just leave.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah, that's what he said. He just said he just got tired of it. He just said, go ahead, leave. We'll get an expansion team and all that type of stuff. And
see, I've heard mixed stories about the St. Louis fan base, especially when you're from here and you don't live here and you work in sports. It's weird what other cities think about your town. They say, Dre, y'all lost a basketball team. You done lost 2 football teams.
And don't forget, we've lost multiple soccer teams too.
But we got Soccer Park coming back here, making a rambunctious return. But
that's not our fault, because soccer,
not at all.
Our soccer teams were playing in very unstable soccer leagues back then, especially the major indoor soccer league and all that. And so, we lost the Cardinals, I really believe, because, Vincent Chamber was just very arrogant. And he thought that, that football should be run through the city and only by the city and not by, county and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, when you move these teams, they want a certain amount of control and this and that. But I wish at that time in St. Louis, we would have had someone that could foresee the infrastructure, to see what was coming this way, to present a better situation and deal for not just the team, but for the city itself. It has to make sense. It has to make sense to them.
And I really thought that, at that time it made sense for the Cardinals to have a stadium in St. Louis County, because that's where all the money was going to at that time. St. Louis is St. Louis. When you go to St. Louis, you have the museum over there. You have the Arch. You have all these places to go hang out. But out in St. Louis County and everything else, there are places to go. You have the mall out there, shopping places and all that. People were, again, they were moving out in St. Louis County. It was expanding. And I think that was a little bit unfortunately, there was a little bit of jealousy over that.
Of course.
They didn't want St. Louis County taking all the candy away from St. Louis City and all that, all those city leaders.
They want to get paid too.
They want to get paid and all that. But then, it would have made sense though, because you got the Cardinals, the baseball Cardinals. You had the Blues in downtown St. Louis, even though the Checker Dome was just barely standing up and all that. And then, you could have the Cardinals in St. Louis County and all that.
I wish we could have saw the future of sports in the sports arena. We could have built something a little bit better and a little bit more wow to it. I think we missed the boat on that in giving the true sports fan a football team and a baseball team all in one building. That would have been amazing to pull off. That would have been amazing to pull off. But greed
and arrogance.
The traits of billionaires. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, now that we done lost basketball and football twice, soccer, and do you think there's a shot in hell that we get mentioned again on this NBA wish list? Because Kansas City is getting all the noise right now. Kansas City is getting all the noise.
City's getting all the noise.
Seattle, Washington trying to get back in the bed with the NBA as well.
I tell you what, it's going to be very tough because you have to look at the market size. You know, we're still like around 22nd or 23rd now, and you look at Vegas, they're right now getting ready to surpass St. Louis as far as as far as the city is growing, market size.
But here's my thing on the NBA. You don't need to build a $80,000 capacity arena.
That's true.
We can go and hit up Steve Dorsey, create up Twitter and Square. We can call it the Square Arena. Okay? There are more NBA fans in St. Louis than hockey fans. I'm going to say that one more time. Even when the Blues make the playoffs, they would rather watch the NBA.
Yeah, that is very true.
And with the advertising and marketing, it could be done. But I would love to put a female-led African American group together to do this the right way.
Me too. I agree. You know what? I don't want to say I don't want to say it's not going to happen. It's going to be tough again because you got Seattle waiting on the wings, and then you got Vegas. I mean, you can't ignore what's going on in Vegas.
I mean, Vegas just showing out in front of all of us, man. They're just showing out.
I mean, 15 years ago, they had nothing, and now they got their hockey team. They got the Raiders.
WNBA.
They got WNBA.
The Summer League.
Yeah, they might end up getting the Athletics right now.
Yeah, it's looking that way. And baseball is huge in Vegas. Baseball is fucking huge in Vegas.
Yeah, and now and they're supposedly going to get Major League Soccer because soccer is really big out there in Vegas.
Man, I mean, they just showed out over the weekend. They had the All-Star game, NHL, and the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Come on, Vegas.
Yeah.
They showed out.
And listen, Vegas is starting to become a very, very. It's a hot destination.
I went for the very first time for my 50th birthday a year and a half ago. And it was during COVID, but still it was a blast. And being legally blind, I only go out in the daytime. So I still had fun. I got lost one time, but that was my own fault. But I'm going back.
I plan on going to Vegas. I haven't been there in almost 19 years, but the last time I was there, I had a blast. I really did. I had a blast.
Vegas is fun.
Yeah.
Well, Alistair, man, I appreciate you chiming in on an article that you wrote for I-70 Sports about who's to blame for no football here in St. Louis, that being former Mayor Vincent Shamo. It's a great article. I'm going to share it again on my news feed on Facebook, Twitter as well.
And also, too, I also run a Facebook called St. Louis Football History. And it talks about all the past football teams, from the Cardinals, Rams, and our current team, the Battlehawks. Caw. We should be hearing about that probably either at the end of this week or next week. By that time, I'll be getting ready to move in to Branson.
I'm looking forward to this Arena Football League coming back. I think having
Arena Football.
What's his name? Arthur Luck headed up for McMahon when they made the return, and then now having The Rock being the face. I think these are good, strong moves in what they're doing. Again, this is not competing with the NFL, but I think it gives you an option because I'm a high component on the NFL getting a minor league.
Right.
Because there has to be another training ground for these guys to go to, and officials. These officials are old as shit. They got the who's coming up next. I've seen a 65-year-old man run down the field at top speed is not good all the time.
It's true. And, you need to create opportunities for coaches like Brian Flores, who I don't know if he's going to go back and coach again in the National Football.
Oh, man. He done.
Maybe he'll get the chance to coach in the XFL. I do see him coaching, but it's probably going to be in college football or in the XFL.
Yeah, I can see him going to college for sure, and the XFL, but somebody is going to Give them a shot. But I guarantee you, a woman is going to be the main decision maker.
Yes.
Because that's what's needed in these NFL owners to really instill diversity. They need a woman to talk to the billionaires and let them explain to them what is going on, because billionaires, you can't tell them nothing. They don't believe in no. They don't believe in compromising. They want to win, win, win. You got to present this to them in a winning situation without telling them what to do.
Yeah, many of these billionaire owners, they're just old and arrogant.
Yeah. It's like a 25-year-old hip-hop star. Exactly. Arrogant. Fuckload of money. Don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Same thing. But my man, thank you for tuning in with me and joining me today on Montez at Midday. Again, my man, Alistair. No problem, my man. I hope you feel better.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you to our title sponsor, the Weed Squad St. Louis. Thank you to those guys as well as Certa Pro Painters as well. Shout out to Oklahoma City right there. And we're going to get back at it on Wednesday. Don't forget to tune in at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, Dre Montez, Twitter at W2B Dre Montez, as well as YouTube, Dre Montez. You get caught up on all of the madness. And don't forget, you can check out the latest episode of our podcast. It's up on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Anchor, or wherever you get or listen to your favorite podcast there. Check it on out. Get us some music here going. There we go. All right, my man. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. And thanks again for tuning in to Montez at Midday.
Peace. God bless. Peace.
All right.